Practice makes perfect. Ain't that the truth? Well, you're gonna be doing a lot of practice with the bow if you're gonna want to master it in Swordsman VR. Because the ranged combat update is here and the bow, the recurve bow, the longbow and the crossbow is now available to buy. Now with this update there are also different type of quivers available to buy. You only need to buy them once, then you can equip them depending on what you want to have. There are the basic arrows, which are just arrows basically with pointy ends. The armor piercing ones, which I do mention later on. They are, well, they're supposed to be armor piercing, but I think they have a chance to pierce armor, but I'm not sure because I didn't notice anything when I used them, so might be a bug, I'm not sure. Then we have the blunt arrows, which are also supposed to be good against armored enemies. I tried using them with a crossbow. It worked, They're not bad, but I didn't really notice anything. It seems to do more damage when I held the crossbow with two hands than rather than with one hand. I don't know. It was weird. Anyway, the fourth and final quiver is poison arrows, which works a treat. If you manage to hit an enemy, you can actually one-shot them, even if it's in the leg, because the poison will do the rest. They might survive with a sliver of health. Maybe. Depending on how much damage you do with the bow. So yeah, there's that. As well as a ranged archery armor, but we'll get to that soon enough. First, I took to the range to test out the different bows. This is on PSVR. I actually have played the beta for this game, or for this update, I should say. I did play the beta on Quest 2, so it took me a little while to get used to the controls and everything actually in PSVR again. It's been a while since I played Swordsman VR on PSVR. Now, as I practiced this on this range, well, it went fairly well. The recurve bow is so far my favorite. I do like the balance of it, and the longbow is good, but it's gonna take some getting used to because it's more powerful, so therefore the range is longer. So at even if you a full draw will make the arrow travel further and more straight. So it's gonna take some getting used to that. Even more so with the crossbow. But that's fine. That's fine. It's very accurate, and I do like it. I do like the feeling they have to the different the bows and the crossbow. It feels very natural. At least to me, I'm not a professional archer, so I can't say for sure. But yeah. Now the archery armor that I mentioned it's not bad. I do like it. I do like the owl on the shoulder pads, really nice, and the rest of the outfit is really nice. Not sure why they called that one a archery helmet, but there we are. It is what it is. Now, as for gameplay, how is it killing enemies with bows? Oh, fun. Fun, fun, fun for the whole family. If this game was for the whole family. Oh well. Now, using the bow in VR is really fun. At least, I would argue it's more fun when the enemy doesn't have armor physics. It's definitely more challenging with armor physics, but without armor physics, it's a little bit more fun, actually. Just spraying arrows, maybe one-shotting the enemy if you hit them in the heart or the head. It works very much like the sword. If it's in the head, it's one shot, or if it's in the heart, it's a one-shot kill. Now, the physics here are also on display, especially when you're executing an enemy that entered this execute state where they go down on one knee or two knees. It's really just shoot them in the head and they fly off, shoot them in the leg and they just fall down and so on. It looks really nice and I do enjoy the physics behind the bow and all that. Now, as I said, the longbow is more powerful, so it will make the enemies fly a little bit more, it seems. Not sure about the crossbow. The crossbow could have something similar. Now, you have to excuse me for some things, I'm a little bit sick. But anyway, some things were a little bit off. I think that was mostly due to controls of the PSVR, so I think most of that is due to the controls, due to the PSVR and not the game itself. So that made things a little bit harder, but otherwise I had no issues when playing actually. I think I did try the armor piercing arrow with the longbow, but it was like it didn't quite register. I'm not sure. Because I mean, I had armor piercing and I had longbow, but for some reason or another, never penetrated the armor. I'm not sure why that is, but yeah, that's where we're at. Now, I think it's due to chance, maybe? It might be you have a chance to penetrate the armor because the enemy seems to be using armor penetrating arrows. And when I used a shield, which I will show later, sometimes I couldn't defend against the arrow. It actually penetrated the shield. It like bent the shield towards me and it just damaged me. It's interesting. Something I did learn from all this is that you can actually use the bow as a melee weapon as well, which is something I did not see in the beta. Well, might have been added in the latest updates, which I might have missed, but yeah. It seems that or you can use the bow and crossbow as a melee weapon, which is nice. I do like that. Now, I did capture footage with a crossbow, but... sorry, I did not... I did also play with a crossbow, but I failed to record that, and yeah, it's getting late, and I did not want to record that again. So, sorry, my bad. I will make something along the lines to show off the crossbow. Maybe even short videos showing off all the different bows and look at strength and weaknesses. See if there is anything different about the different bows, because I kind of want to know. They have different damage, but does it make a big difference? That could be interesting to look at closer, because I kind of want to know. Now, for any bugs that I encountered, well, nothing major. Idle enemies, like they stopped attacking me and they just stood there. Like I could just go up and bash them with my bow or stab them with an arrow. So yeah. And yes, that's also a thing. You can stab the enemy with an arrow, like using a knife. So just go up to the enemy and stab them. Same thing with the bolts for crossbows, but much shorter, of course. It works fine actually. I mean, you could use it as a weapon.
I got your eye!
Why would you? Now, if you only had one arrow left, that is the question. If you only have one arrow left, that could be tricky. I used infinite arrows modifier, I should point out during this. So yeah, infinite arrows. during the whole playthrough, because I didn't want to fiddle with that. I will do something more on the lines of a more natural and realistic way where I actually have to pick up arrows. I think the enemy archers do always drop arrows, like 1 or 2, maybe even more. Because I did notice that when I killed an enemy archer, there was a bunch of like 2 or 3 arrows on the ground where they stood, or had stood, where they died, I should say. And yeah, that's interesting. Now, one of the issues with the arrows during the beta was that you couldn't really pick them up, but that's all right now. You can pick them up easy as pie. But there's one issue I have where I miss the arrow, the quiver, but that's when I'm not looking at the quiver, so that's down to controls, I think. And me. So yeah, I don't know what else to say really here, because the update is really good. I do enjoy shooting enemies with arrows. If you're having armor physics on, it's really satisfying to get the arrow fired right between the arrows and just the armor and just taking them out in one shot. It's very rare that you actually do that because armor, but Vikings are pretty easy to get the heart, and some knights who don't have the face guard down is somewhat easier to like hit in the face. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a good update. This is, I think, I would argue the best update in a while because it really adds something, a whole new dimension to the game. I mean, the sandbox update wasn't bad, but it didn't do that much, but it does have a lot of potential and even more with this because, of course, this is also in the sandbox. Arrows and enemies with arrows and so on. Or bows, I should say. So, if you have Swordsman VR, I do recommend getting out there and just start shooting enemies with arrows. It's so satisfying that it can't be replicated. That makes me and others sound like murderous machines, but it's all fun and games. Until it isn't. Oh well. That's been me, Swippy92, with Swordsman VR Ranged Update. Have a great life and I hope to see you in future videos. Bye bye!